Wuthering Heights, or revenge is a dish served cold, hot, frozen, microwaved, delivered by Deliveroo, you name it. It's one of those books that seriously grabs you by the throat and won't let go, just like one of Heathcliff's savage dogs, until you end up a quivering mess on the floor, begging for mercy and crying, "For goodness sake, Catherine, do come in so we can all have a good night's sleep, finally." Of course, the novel is about the all-encompassing but doomed passion between outcast Heathcliff and beautiful and wild Catherine Earnshaw. And it's all played against the backdrop of the windswept Yorkshire moors. Really, it's the closest Yorkshire has to an opera, I think. I'm surprised there isn't one. Benjamin Britten. I've never been either Team Bronte or Team Austen. Really, I cannot understand why we can't live in a world that allows us to enjoy both. But if a gun was pointed to my head, I would have to opt for conjuring up Heathcliff so that I could tell him what a fool he was. Why, oh why, did you leave before you could hear the famous "He's more myself than I am" speech that Cathy made, and that naughty Nellie Dean neglected to relate to him. Cathy is annoying, has to be said. She's selfish and self-centered and very drama queenish. She loves Heathcliff, but she marries the genteel Edgar Linton, and then naively imagines that the three of them are going to have a menage a trois. What, with that super jealous Heathcliff out of the question? Of course, that wasn't going to happen. Anyway, this is hardly a massive spoiler, but Heathcliff leaves, Cathy dies, and Heathcliff comes back. And once she's dead, the stupid girl's ghost appears to the wrong person and wanders around in a totally unsuitable attire, as we can see here. And I really feel like grabbing that icy cold hand and say, "You get a grip for once, bitch." I can see why Heathcliff is resentful and vindictive, especially towards that scumbag, Hindley. But he does come across as a little bit too sadistic, especially towards his poor wife, Isabel. On top of that, he's hysterical, he's anorexic, he's a necrophiliac, really. And he also locks up people against their will. I bet Boris wishes he had put Heathcliff in charge of Dominic Cummings. But I cannot shelve Heathcliff on the literary monster shelf and leave him there. I can't forget about him. I see him as he turns up at Mr. Lockwood's doors, standing in his shirt and trousers, candle drippings on his finger, over his fingers, all disheveled, pale and trembling, and wild black hair. And to me, he is the ultimate romantic hero. The reason he's so relentlessly cruel and sadistic, not that that is an excuse, of course, is that his tortured soul is suffering the torments of hell and is forever haunted by Cathy's ghost. His cruelty does not satisfy him, and in the end, the best possible thing that can happen for him and everybody concerned is for Heathcliff to die. So he leaves the window open one night, and Cathy's ghost, we assume, maybe appears, maybe doesn't. But in the end, Nellie finds him dead by the morning. He's buried next to Cathy, and the two of them finally reunited. Their ghosts may or may not be roaming the moors. Her ghost is definitely still doing that. Look at that. I can just Why was she wearing? It's the Yorkshire Moors, for God's sake. What would Joseph say? Anyway, moral of the story, never go to bed with the window open in Yorkshire. It is freezing cold and you may catch your death.